Yo, what is up, guys? This is RizzyPOW, and this is going to be my Week 5 match up against Monotui in the NPL, the National Pokeball League. So, I'm actually gonna, these videos might be a bit longer from now until the end of the season, just because I'm gonna do a little bit in the beginning of each video to talk about the standings and pretty much where we sit in the conference, our chances of making playoffs and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to go through that in a bit. So if you guys just want to skip to where I show off my actual team, it shouldn't be like super long, maybe just like 5 minutes talking about the standings. But if you guys want to skip to that, I'm going to put a timestamp for the team builder in the description. And a time stamp to skip to the actual battle in the description as well. If you guys, want to skip me talking and stuff, you guys really don't care. But, yeah, we're going up against Mono this week in the NPL. I faced Mono actually a couple of times in the format before. I faced him in the TBU. I think that was our first battle. I think that was season 3 of the TBU. That was a pretty big game for me because it helped me make playoffs, or because I just had a ton of losses, and we beat him in that game. And our next game against him was in the March Madness tournament, and then we ended up losing to him in the PPL when I took over for Jordan for a week. So faced him a couple of times in the past. Hopefully we can get another win against him. That would be really nice. I think I'm 2-1 against him now. But let's just get to the standings right now. He isn't in our conference as well. This is a conference match, so this is a pretty important match. And as you guys can see, the standings are over here. This is on the NPL fan document. Actually, if you guys want to check this out, there will be a link to it in the description below, or it's actually also in the NPL fan Discord. In case I forget to link it in the description, just go to the fan Discord and you will find it. But as you can see, Blake is actually at the top of our conference, and we're actually second. So we have a 2-2 record. We just went through 2 losses these last 2 weeks. So we're trying to get past those 2 losses, but we're still actually the second in our conference because our conference is super close. Blake is the only one way above everyone. Like, he has an extra win above everyone. But we have a really healthy differential. Being at 2-2, so that's really good for us. And Mono's right over here, so if we can beat Mono this week, we'll probably stay second, or if Blake loses, we might be able to move up to the first spot in our conference, which would be really nice. If we lose, we'll probably move down, depending on who else wins. So it's really important because if I do lose, I'm just going to keep on going down, and I'm already on a 2-week losing streak because I lost the last 2 weeks against Trev as well as Verd, and those matchups were honestly probably the worst matchups I have in the entire league. But my matchup against Mono, I feel, is also not so great, and the matchup should appear right about now. Let's see. Actually, that really took only like 2 minutes. Maybe I should not be having a timestamp for these future videos. But yeah, if you guys can see Mono's team right over here, he has the Megalop, Toxapex, and some scary threats. Actually, in last week's video, I think I actually accidentally put Mono's team instead of Verd's in the team builder. I'm really sorry about that. The reason why I did that was actually because I was just finishing building for Mono for this battle while editing for Verd, and I accidentally grabbed the wrong team and I put it on the fucking video, which is kind of funny, but it also sucks because I feel really bad about that. I want to put more effort into my videos and make sure stupid stuff like that does not happen in the future. But also, speaking of the standings, I forgot to say where we are in the overall standings as of after week 4. We're actually number 6, so we're still doing like better than a lot of the league. So that's really nice. We're still like in a really healthy spot since everybody is so close. Like, there's only 4 3-1 teams, and they also might lose this week. So anyways, let's get into the actual team. Just looking at Mono's team, as I said earlier, I don't think I have the greatest matchup. I have a very offensive team, and Whereas Mono's team is very bulky, has a lot of bulk with a really good core between Toxapex, Tyranitar, Gliscor, Ferrothorn. That's really difficult to prep for, as well as stuff like Reuniclus. Kyurem can be very bulky as well. I love Fat Kyurem whenever I've had it in leagues before. It can just pressure stall and stuff, which Fat isn't really the best way to go against my team, because I have a really offensive team, a lot of breakers to break through his Fat. So the scariest stuff to my team are Megalop, because Megalop is super fast, and again, I'm running offense, so I don't have good switch-ins to Megalop. My only thing that can really take hits from it is Clefable, and I don't like Rocky Helmet. I don't really want to have a Rocky Helmet on Clefable because I want a better item on it for the rest of his team. Mesprit can also probably take a couple hits, but it doesn't have reliable recovery and it's going to be worn down really quickly. So Megalop is a huge threat to my team. Also, Megalop can even carry Iron Tail to two-hit KO Clefs. So this matchup is not looking very good. If you also look at the Reuniclus, because Reuniclus just kind of destroys me. Since I have a very offensive team, he can run like a Trick Room Sweeper and easily win late game, because Life Orb, Modest, Psychics, along with his coverage moves like Focus Blast, Shadow Ball, to be able to hit my entire team is going to be extremely scary, and I need to prep for that thing. But if I prep for like Trick Room Reuniclus, then I become very vulnerable to like Calm Mind Reuniclus, which is also super scary to my team. And I definitely could see him bringing it just because Mono loves bringing his Fat. He could bring like a really defensive Reuniclus with either Magic Guard or even Overcoat is a really good possibility, just because defensive Reuniclus can take on Breloom pretty decently well. And since I have like a really offensive team, I'm probably not going to bring Toxic either way. He might just want Magic Guard for the spikes and like any hazards. Magic Guard would still be nice for, but what Overcoat does is that it gives him an immunity to Spore from my Breloom, which he doesn't deal with Breloom very well. So I could definitely see Overcoat if he is like the defensive Calm Mind variant, but Magic Guard probably more likely, just because again, Mono's team, if you guys look at it, is super weak to hazards, and I do have a Spike Stacker and Greninja, so he might not want to be taking consistent damage if I ever get my spikes up with Greninja. So that's about that. One other thing about Mono's team is that his hazard removal is very poor. His only removal is Gliscor without the Toxic Orb, because it can't be a defogger if it has Poison Heal, which already limits Gliscor a lot. And then Sand Slash is his spinner. So I guess he could have Scyther as a defogger, but like really, he's not bringing either Sand Slash or Scyther against me. Sand Slash I guess could be a possibility because I have a pretty ground weak team, but I still don't think that will come. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Like Hazard Stack is really good versus him, something to note. Let's just get into the team that I built, and this is going to be my win con right over here, Clefable. Clefable is going to be my win con. I have a Life Orb defensive Clefable, so originally I actually had a little bit of speed on this Clefable just to outspeed a Ferrothorn that T-Waves me, just because like one of his ways for dealing with Clefable, I don't think this is a very solid way, but like he could be like T-Wave Iron Head Ferrothorn, and then have his Ferrothorn have a bit of speed to outspeed a Clefable under after it gets paralyzed, because T-Wave got nerfed this gen, so paralysis only reduces your speed by 50%, so he could outspeed it and then just spam Iron Head and flinch me to death. Because I can't really break through that, but obviously that's like a really bad way to deal with Clef, because I can easily have Fire Blast or Flamethrower to just deal with it. So that was, I ended up realizing I doubted that was going to be a good way to deal with Clef, and Gyro Ball is just so good and spammable versus my team. So what I did was actually went like a minus speed nature. This one IV in speed literally doesn't matter, doesn't change the Gyro Ball damage if I go 1 or 0, so I just put 1. But yeah, with a minus speed nature and 0 IVs in speed, Gyro Ball is doing like 38%, whereas if I was if I wasn't like relaxed, it would be doing and I had like a bit of speed creep for Ferrothorn, it would be doing like 50%, and I can't really set up on a Ferrothorn that's doing 50% unless like I stall out Gyro Balls, which is definitely a possibility since Gyro Ball only has 8 PP. But I still don't have a good Gyro Ball switching on this team, so I felt like this was the best way to do it. But yeah, I have a really cool set with Life Orb Thunder because SpDef Toxapex I feel like is a very likely bring against my team because it helps versus Gengar, Specs, Greninja. What else is it really good for? Just good for, you know, some stuff on my team. I felt like it was a pretty decent possibility. So if I'm Life Orb after a Calm Mind Thunder, oh shit, water is leaking from, oh no, this water bottle that I grabbed is leaking. This is bad. Let me put on the towel real quick and finish this recording. I am sorry. There you go. Don't leak water. Oh no, it's gonna fall. Alright, okay, sorry for distraction. That was very unprofessional, but yeah, this Life Orb Thunder can actually 2 a KO SpDef Toxapex after a Calm Mind, which means that I can actually Calm Mind, and unless he's spamming Haze, I can actually beat Toxapex 1v1, even if I miss Thunders, because like Thunder has like 16 PP. I guess if I miss too many, I can run out of PP on Thunder, but Toxapex is literally doing nothing to me. It can Haze me, sure, but I'm going to Calm Mind up on it, then I'm going to do 50% on it. I get a 30% chance to paralyze it, and I can just rinse repeat. It can Haze, I'll just Calm Mind up again. It's going to have to recover because it just took a ton of health. I'm just going to go for Thunder again. If I get a paralysis, then he's going to have to deal with being paralyzed, and I'll eventually beat it 1v1. And you know, if he is paralyzed and I play it right, I can actually beat the Toxapex while ending up with a +1 special attack +1 defense Clefable at the end of this. So that's really good. Again, I can set up on Ferrothorn. I can beat Toxapex 1v1. I can take any 2 hits from Megalop, which is really, really good for me, unless it has the Iron Tail, which I can definitely see him bringing. Something that this thing isn't good for is if he's like Calm Mind Reuniclus, that's going to be a bit of an issue because you know, with Psyshock, it'll be able to beat me 1v1. The thing is though, if I already have a +1, like if I already have a Calm Mind up, and Reuniclus switches in, since I have the Life Orb, this Life Orb is actually pretty clutch. Besides being able to 2 a KO Toxapex with Thunder. This Life Orb also means that if he takes like 20% on Reuniclus and I already have a Calm Mind up, he will not be able to beat me 1v1 because if I Moonblast it and then he gets a Calm Mind of his own up, Moonblast is still going to kill because of this Life Orb. So if he does get slightly weakened, I don't even have to deal with the Calm Mind Psyshock Reuniclus. I don't know if that made sense what I just said, but I'm hoping it did. Anyways, just a really good win con against him. Also, like I can, with a Life Orb, I can 2 a KO Gliscor with Moonblast. Even if it wants to taunt me, I'll be able to 2 a KO it unless like it's super SpDef. So that's really good because I can see Taunt Gliscor coming for Clefable. Yeah, Gliscor is also a really good response to Drill and stuff. And one last thing that can deal with this Clefable is like if he brings Banded T-Tar, which he did bring versus Gypsy, so it's definitely a possibility. So sorry I spent like a long time talking about that, but let's get through this team builder quickly. What mon do I want to talk about next? I guess we'll talk about my second win con. So this is a Bulk Up Breloom. I brought Bulk Up Breloom last week as well, and this is kind of a weird bring. I realized last minute that I was calculating wrong when building for the majority of this team, that I was calculating Gyro Ball from Ferrothorn if it wasn't relaxed in 0 speed IVs, but then I realized how much Gyro Ball is actually doing to this Breloom. So the purpose of this Breloom was actually to bulk up on Ferrothorn and you know, be able to set up multiple bulk ups and then kill it with Mach Punch by the end of the deal, because I feel like Rocky Helmet Ferrothorn is a really good bring versus my team, and if I am SD with Life Orb, I'm actually literally killing myself by going for Mach Punch, because like what's going to happen is that I need Life Orb to be able to 2-hit KO his Toxapex, or I need Life Orb to be able to 2-hit KO his Ferrothorn if I want it. And if I'm SD with Life Orb, then after an SD, if I like SD up on the Ferrothorn, it's going to go for Gyro Ball. It's going to do a ton to me. And then if I Mach Punch it and he's Rocky Helmet, I'm actually just going to kill myself with the Rocky Helmet, Rough Skin damage, as well as Life Orb. So this is a really good threat versus him, and it's one of my best ways to deal with Ferrothorn. So I didn't want to have a set like that. Like, I didn't want my best response to Ferrothorn to be killing itself, trying to kill it. So I decided bulk up was better because I can set up multiple bulk ups on it, get a lot of health with recover. Its Gyro Balls are going to be doing a lot less, and I can kill it. Spore is just really nice because I can set up on Toxapex with Spore. Bullet Seed is doing a ton to his team. What also is nice about bulk up is that if he is like Gliscor, if he does bring Gliscor, like, it's one of his better checks to a Breloom, but he's gonna need a coverage move because he obviously needs Earthquake to touch Drill, or if like an SD Drill might be a problem to him. So he's probably going to be Earthquake and then probably some coverage move, probably Ice Fang. And if I'm able to bulk up on the Gliscor, like, Ice Fang is really doing nothing to it, and I can set up on it unless that's taunt, and I can just Bullet Seed it, and it's going to do a ton of damage since I am Adamant. Priority is so good for Lop. It actually doesn't Oko Lop. Unless I am Life Orb. So that's something to note, but after a layer of spikes, it will be able to kill Lop most likely. What else is this good for? Bullet Seed is good, like, if for Mimikyu, I guess, it can just break through Mimikyu. Thing about bulk up, I had a plan for Mimikyu with this Breloom, but I decided not to go with that. It was on a different team. I don't really want to reveal it just in case I do end up fighting Mono again in playoffs, but the thing about, even if I get like 2 bulk ups, Life Orb Mimikyu is still going to be able to do a ton to me with Play Rough. But like if I get 3 bulk ups up, what's nice is that, which is like very unlikely, but if I'm able to, like Bullet Seed onto Mimikyu, it's going to break its disguise with the first Bullet Seed, and it can just kill it after like 2 or 3, which is pretty nice. Again, Spore is just really good even for the Reuniclus unless it's Overcoat. It's one way that I can deal with Calm Mind Reuniclus. But, you know, if he is Overcoat, as I said, then Spore is not going to help me versus the Calm Mind set. Anyways, we're going to go on to my Choice Specs Greninja. So Choice Specs Greninja is really good in this match. It's also a very good, spikes are amazing in this match, and he does have switch-ins to it. Like mainly the Toxapex. Toxapex can take any 2 hits from this thing, unless I am Extra Sensory, but you can always scout for that. If he's Spadef, he's going to be taking an Extra Sensory, sort of fine, but he can just pivot out if I go for Extra Sensory. Maybe it's like T-Tar or something, but yeah, this is just really nice. Water Shuriken is good for mainly Lop and Reuniclus if it gets a Trick Room up. I have spikes for the Toxapex switch in, and Toxapex can't really touch me, so I can set up multiple spikes on it. He does not have any removal, so spikes are going to be very key in this match. And yeah, that's pretty much it with this set. Just it kind of wrecks him. Like he doesn't have any switch-ins is what I mean. And what's also nice is that it gives me a really good check to Mimikyu after his disguise is broken, because I resist the Shadow Sneak and I can just Oko it with Hydro Pump. So that's really good. My next mon is going to be a Scarf Excadrill. So Scarf Excadrill, this is Scarf Rocks Excadrill. I have my 2 hazard setters actually locked into hazards, which is kind of like it's okay, but like only problem is that if Reuniclus switches in while I set up rocks or something like that, it's going to be a bit of a problem if he is Trick Room. But if he is Trick Room, I'll be able to 2-hit KO it with Earthquake either way. So I don't think it would switch in if it is Trick Room. And his best switch into this is Gliscor. So I can set up rocks on the Gliscor switch in. I thought I originally had Spin, but I actually changed my hazard removal to Aerodactyl, and I originally had rocks on Aerodactyl, but I decided to switch their rolls up a bit just because I felt they were better, because, you know, Drill isn't the best spinner this game, especially if it's Choice Lock, because once again, he has potential Ruskin Rocky Helmet Ferrothorn, which I think is a decent bring, so he can always switch that in onto Drill if it tries to spin, and then he can just get his hazards back up. His best switching into Drill is Gliscor, and if it's his Rocker, then, you know, I'm just spinning for him to get back up rocks. So Again, it's like a very mediocre spinner against him. He even has a potential spin blocker in Mimikyu if he really predicts the spin and wants to prevent me from getting rid of hazards. So it's just a better rocker because he does have switch-ins to a Scarf Drill. The reason why I'm running Scarf is because it's good for Mimikyu because Mimikyu is a huge threat to my team, and it's also good for the Lot Bunny. Its priority can't really do a ton of damage to me, and I can kill it once it gets weakened a bit with the Earthquake. So I went through these 4 Pokemon, and I'm looking kind of weak to Trick Room Reuniclus, but this is my my best way of kind of ensuring that it can't sweep is this kind of like this really bulky Kyurem Black with a Chople Berry. Actually, Life Orb Focus Blast does less than 50% to me, which is really good. If he doesn't bring Trick Room Reuniclus, Chople Berry is always good for the Lot Bunny in the back. So that's really good. Dragon Claw to like a Trick Room Reuniclus, if it's only like max HP, is doing about 50% or around 50%, a bit more actually, and that's really good because Dragon Claw into like Scarf Earthquake will kill it. Like he can't set up a Trick Room versus anything on my team without being put in range of Dragon Claw from Kyurem. So this is like my fail safe thing against him. Just make sure that Kyurem doesn't get weakened, or if if rocks are up, it's fine, but just make sure that it doesn't have to switch into rocks twice, or it will be put in range of Reuniclus's attack under Trick Room. So that's pretty much what I have to do with this. There's not really much to go with it. It's just something to help me prevent getting swept by a Reuniclus. It can be really good for Lot Bunny. It's a really good breaker overall to his team. It can't really touch the Ferrothorn too well, but I can weaken Ferrothorn, especially if it's his main switch in a drill. It's going to be constantly taking Earthquakes and just overall being weakened. I have Breloom that actually can kind of set up on the Ferrothorn and beat it 1v1. It might be like Spadef and try to switch into Dark Pulses, and if it does that, like, it's going to be taking a lot of damage. And my last one, this is going to be a really weird set. I originally wasn't going to bring Mega Aerodactyl this week, but I decided to in the end. And I brought a really weird set. This is going to be my Defogger, and it is a really good Defogger this match because it has very good coverage to be able to beat all of his rockers on his team, besides Toxapex, which isn't a rocker, but it's a T-Spiker, which Toxapex is a super reliable T-Spiker, so I can see him bringing T-Spikes on that, especially because he can also bring it in combination with T-Tar to Pursuit Trap my grounded poison in Gengar. So this Aqua Tail, it beats it does a ton of damage to T-Tar, Gliscor's, Rockers, Fire Fang is 2-hit KOing the Ferrothorn. If he is Rough Skin Rocky Helmet, that's going to do a ton of damage to me, and it doesn't appreciate taking damage, especially because it's going to be switching in on rocks to get rid of them with Defog. But this Crunch is there to help me deal with Reuniclus. Now I'm going to explain my spread right now. This is a really weird set. You're probably wondering, why the fuck am I not Jolly to be able to outspeed Mega Lopunny? Why am I like I'm a really weird set. So I only have enough speed to outspeed Scarf T-Tar. This is the biggest benchmark I wanted. The other benchmark was to like outspeed Megalop, but I didn't want to invest that much in speed. And this defense is really good because it allows me to, it allows me to, it ensures that I can take any one hit from Lop after rocks. And it's also good for Mimikyu to be able to live hits and maybe break its disguise or just deal a ton of damage to it. It's really good for Gliscor's Ice Fang is literally going to be doing nothing to me. Reuniclus, if it's Calm Mind, it's going to be having Psyshock, and Psyshock is going to not be doing a ton to me either. So it's just really nice. This defense investment might be very clutch. It just enables me to live certain attacks from full. And now I wanted to go Adamant really badly this game, and that's because with this investment I'm still not like max attack Adamant, which like I'm giving up Jolly just to go Adamant, and it's still hitting a bit harder than Jolly max attack Aerodactyl. But the reason why I want to go Adamant again is for Crunch to have a 60% chance with leftovers to 2-hit KO defensive Reuniclus. Now that's important because if I would just max attack Jolly, there is like a 10-20% chance that I can 2-hit KO Reuniclus with Crunch if he is a Calm Mind variant, and I'm very weak to a Calm Mind variant right now. My only way to deal with it on this team is Spore from Breloom, and again, he could be Overcoat, so it's very, I deal with it very badly right now. And what Crunch can do, like having a 60% chance to 2-hit KO his Reuniclus with Crunch is very good, because it means that he can't set up all over me and everything, and like he's gonna expect to be able to live any one hit, because Jolly makes the most sense. He's gonna probably try to set up a Calm Mind up on me, not thinking that I have anything to 2-hit KO it, and I can just keep on spamming Crunch against him. The odds are in my favor to eventually kill it if he tries to set up on me. I always get the chance to drop defense, has like defense drops. Only way he'll be able to beat me is if he's insanely lucky, and that's pretty much it. This Aerodactyl though doesn't have a lot of coverage to hit his entire team, like it cannot touch Toxapex, but I think that's fine. I have other ways to deal with Toxapex, and this is kind of just there to be a glue for this team, prevent Reuniclus from just destroying me if he does bring Calm Mind. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it with the team. This is a 26-minute team builder, but I did go over the standings at the beginning, and I wanted to go a bit more in depth on the team builder, just because we're nearing actually around the middle of the season. After this game, we're going to be halfway through the regular season for this season of the NPL. I said season like 5 times right there, but yeah, it's coming to the point where every game is really important, and I really want to make playoffs, and not just make playoffs. I want to end off with an extremely good record. I want to show everyone that I'm a good battler. The last 2 seasons did not define what kind of player I am, and I'm out here to fucking wreck some people. So hope you guys enjoyed, and we will get right into the fucking team builder, or the battle. Bye bye. Alright, we are here with the actual battle up against Monotui, and this is going to be the battle right over here. Sorry if you guys ended up not liking that 26-minute team builder. That was a really fucking long team builder, and kind of sorry about that, but anyways, let's get right into the battle. We can see like the team that he brought. He didn't end up bringing Gliscor, which was kind of a surprise. He ended up bringing Kyurem, which I didn't prep a ton for. It was definitely the least prep mon that I prepped for, but I definitely knew I could deal with it. The most likely sets that I thought that were going to be coming versus me are like Scarf, just because I have a very offensive team, so Scarf Kyurem is going to be really good. I don't have best ice resists. What also could be good is if it's a Life Orb set, maybe with like Iron Head to 2-hit KO Clef. That was something that I was thinking. So just to be something to be careful of. If it is like Life Orb, that means that Clefable might not be the best win con versus him. But right now, Clef is looking pretty decent. I can set up on Ferrothorn. Again, I'll be able to beat the Toxapex 1v1. If this is Calm Mind Reuniclus, it might be a bit hard, but like it's not too difficult to weaken Reuniclus. He didn't bring the T-Tar, so I don't have to worry about Bandit T-Tar being able to 2-hit KO Clef. SD Mimikyu can kind of take care of Clef, and like if he's Iron Talon Lop. So Clef is definitely looking to be the biggest win con right here. Breloom is alright. It's not like the greatest, just because Mimikyu is right over here. Until I get rid of Mimikyu, Breloom is not going to be able to like win the game. It can be a really good wall breaker though, so that's something. But yeah, he also did not bring Gliscor. I don't know if I said that. So Scarf Drill can also be a really good late game win condition if I can weaken all of his checks. If this is defensive Reuniclus, that's his only thing that can take 2 hits. I guess Ferrothorn can as well, but like Ferrothorn is probably going to get 3-hit KO'd, and it doesn't have reliable recovery. So what over here I decided to lead off with, just Clefable looked really good against his entire team, and I just decided that I was going to lead off with it. So I'm going to lead off with Clefable. I didn't see any reason not to. If he did lead off with like Lop, I can just hard switch out into something if I think, or I don't even need a hard switch out, because since I'm Life Orb, I'm actually going to be able to Oko Lop with 1 Moonblast. So even if he Iron Tails me, I'm getting rid of the biggest threat to my team. So right here, he leads off with Ferrothorn, which is fine because I know I can set up on this thing. So I decided to do just that in just first turn. going for the Calm Mind. And right here I decided to go for Moonblast because if he was Calm Mind, Side Shock, Reuniclus, I expected him to want to go out into that hard go out into that right now to prevent this Clefable from sweeping. So Moonblast, Life Orb Moonblast would actually be able to 2-hit KO it after a Calm Mind. So that was why I went for the Moonblast right there. But he actually went to Toxapex, which was, you know, a fair play as well. But I know I can beat this 1v1, so I'm not too worried about it coming in right here. So I'm just going to go for a Thunder straight away and gauge how much damage I do. And that actually kills. So from that, he was like no Spadef investment at all. I thought he'd at least be some, but he actually wasn't at all. And I got a very high roll to be able to kill a Toxapex right there. Now, that roll kind of sucks, and I'm sorry about that mono, but I'm pretty sure I would have been able to beat that Toxapex 1v1. Maybe depending on your set, maybe if you had like a really cool set, that might have not been the case. But we get rid of Toxapex early, which is really good. It opens up the door for like Specs Greninja. It's also really good for Aerodactyl because I don't really have good coverage to be able to hit the Toxapex, but I can hit everything else on his team reasonably hard, although my best way to hit Kyurem is Crunch, but one, he's not switching Kyurem on an Aerodactyl, and still Crunch is doing a good chunk to Kyurem. I am adamant. So right here, he's going to go out into his Mimikyu, and right here I decided to go hard out into Drill because I knew his play was going to be SD, and I can just go into Drill right now and threaten this thing out. I was thinking about going for Earthquake right here just because I felt that Ferrothorn was going to be a likely switch right here, expecting the Iron Head, and he could get up Layer Spikes if he has that, and it could kind of be a problem. But again, if he decides to stay in right here, not expecting the Scarf, I could be in a lot of trouble right here. Even though Earthquake should be able to kill it after Spikes damage, so that's going to be a bit of it. That'll be nice, but again, I don't know. If he's Life Orb, then it wouldn't be like the biggest issue because I live guaranteed one Shadow Claw and he'll kill himself with Life Orb. But if he's not, he's going to be left with like 10%. And if he somehow kills me with Shadow Sneak plus Shadow Claw, that could be an issue. In hindsight, maybe my better play was going for Earthquake, but I don't know. I just went for Iron Head right here as he's gonna go on his Ferrothorn. Pretty obvious play. And right here, I take that Rough Skin damage. I need to remember to keep Excadrill as healthy as possible because if I don't, this Mimikyu can sweep late game. So I'm just going to go out hard into my Clefable right here because I don't have many good switch-ins for Gyro Ball, and again, I can set up all over this thing. I'm going to go for Soft Boiled right here as he sets up Layer Spikes, and I'm just going to start getting Calm Minds up on this thing as Gyro Ball is doing nothing, and he's already used like 3 or 4 Gyro Balls, so he's starting to run out on PP on this, and that's something I'm going to keep in mind later in this battle. So I just go for Moonblast right there in case he does try to switch out an Mimikyu. I wanted to catch on the switch in and break his disguise if I could. And right over here, I decide that I don't want to switch hard into Drill right here because he does have Layer Spikes up, and that's just weakening Drill more and more. And Drill might not end up being a good check to this thing if I can't get rid of these hazards. So I wanted to break its disguise right now. I knew he was going to SD up right here, and that is going to be really good for me later in the game. So this is my win con, and I'm going to switch out right here and actually sack off my Breloom. This was kind of a hard decision, but I decided that Breloom was doing the least, especially since I have not weakened this Mimikyu at all, and it's looking to be a huge threat to my team. And with Mimikyu around, there's no way Breloom is going to be able to sweep. So I decided I was going to sack it off as he actually goes for the SD play. So he's going to SD twice on this thing, as in my mind, I didn't think he was going to do that just because I expected him to realize I was Life Orb after I killed off the Toxapex. And this Moonblast, if I was like a normal Clefable, Moonblast would not be doing much, but I was a Life Orb Clefable with +1. And if I Moonblasted right there, I could have, I'm pretty sure I took a play rough from that range, maybe barely, but I still did it, and I would have been able to do like a good 80% to this Mimikyu, or like 60 or something, and it would be really weak. So that's why I just felt that he was not going to go for the SD again, but since he did, I'm in a bit of trouble. At least I have his disguise broken, so I can always check it with Specs Hydro Greninja, but it's kind of scary, especially if I miss a Hydro Pump. But right here, he's just going to kill off my Breloom, as we see that he is Life Orb, and this is good information to know because I can whittle it down and everything. So right here, I'm just going to go for a Specs Hydro. I have no reason not to, as he's going to go hard out into his Ferrothorn, which does a lot of damage to it. It means that he can't switch in Ferrothorn anymore to Hydro Pumps because at this point it'll 2-hit KO it. It also puts it in range of EQ from my Drill. So that's just really good info for me. Right here, I think I make a pretty bad play right here. So he's already used like 4 Gyro Balls at this point, and my obvious switch in was Clefable right here because it just gains me a lot of momentum. He does not have a good way to deal with Clefable. I'm a Life Orb Clefable, and I can just fire off Moonblast if I want to, and he doesn't have a good switch in. Obviously, right now, I know that he's not Calm Mind Reuniclus, or he would have revealed it by now, I feel. Or maybe if he is Calm Mind, he's Psychic. So that's not, it doesn't reliably deal with Clefable if he's Psychic. So I thought he wasn't going to go for Gyro Ball right here, even though it does a lot of damage to my entire team. But if I went to Clefable right there, he's losing another Gyro Ball. He's going to be left with like 4 or 3, and he just he's slowly losing them all. So right here, I expected him to go for a layer of Spikes. Or maybe like Power Whip if he had it. So right here, I'm going to make a pretty bad play because I should have weighed risk versus reward. And I go out into my Mega Aerodactyl, hoping that maybe I can either scare it out and kill with a Fire Fang, or I could actually just get rid of these hazards because they're very annoying for me since they are slowly putting Excadrill in range of Mimikyu's attacks. So right here, I decided to go on to that. I felt the urgency to get rid of these hazards as soon as possible, and he actually just Gyro Balls. So very bad play on my part. I just sacked off my Mega Aerodactyl, my only hazard removal, and I have all these layers against me. So right here, I go into Greninja because, you know, I can just fire off a Dark Pulse and I can kill this thing. But I decided that even though he's probably going to kill me right here, I want to get up a layer of Spikes to put... I think I did it because... I'm trying to remember my exact thought process, but it was I needed this layer of Spikes up in order to win the game because I think that layer of Spikes like put Clefable, or it put Mimikyu in range of a Life Orb +1 Moonblast from Clefable, which is very important. It also what else does it do? I'm trying to remember. It also puts like Kyurem Black. It puts in range of like a Kyurem Black attack, since I can guarantee live when play rough, and it can't set up like a play rough on. It can't set up an SD up on me because at this point, if it sets up an SD, I'm in a lot of trouble since Greninja is very weakened, and after Spikes, Excadrill is actually going to be very weak as well. So I decided to go for a layer of Spikes right here, and I also expected to be a good chance that he switches out. Not sure into what, maybe like Scarf Kyurem. I'm trying to remember, it made a lot of sense when I went for it, at least in my head. I'm pretty sure that was my reasoning. I needed it to put in range of certain attacks. So right here, he actually decides to stay and he goes for a Gyro Ball. So this is not the best thing for me. Like, I would love to get a second layer of Spikes to put everything in range of attacks, but if he goes into Mimikyu while I'm locked into Spikes, at this point he knows that I am Hydro. I'm Specs because because of the damage that I did to Ferrothorn earlier. He knows I'm Specs and he knows I'm locked into Spikes. So if he goes in a Mimikyu as I set up this layer of Spikes, he can actually get up like an extra Swords Dance and I can lose this game. So right here, I think that I actually go out into my Excadrill, and he actually goes for the Spike. So if he did go hard in Mimikyu right here, I was definitely not in range of a Shadow Sneak, and it can actually just fire off an Earthquake and potentially get a kill. I don't know his Reuniclus set at this point. At this point, I was expecting it to be Trick Room, and I would be able to 2-hit KO that set. So right here, I got my Drill in right here, and there's no reason for me not to click Earthquake as I just get a kill. So Ferrothorn is down right there, and he goes out into his Kyurem. So this is Life Orb or Specs. Most likely Life Orb, I think. I don't think Specs. Scarf is also the other set. Life Orb thing actually kills me. What is it? Life Orb Ice Beam kills me from this range, and I need this extra drill for later because it's a really good win con versus him. It helps me versus Mimikyu, and so it's really important. So right here, I decide to switch out, and I think that I sack off my Greninja at this point as I see him go for Earth Power. Now, this Earth Power is really important because that tells me that he's guaranteed not Life Orb. Because if he was Life Orb, he just killed. He got a kill right there if he was Life Orb. But I was out of range of Scarf Ice Beam with my drill. So Earth Power, I was definitely in range of Earth Power because it's super effective. So I know right now that he's not any boosting item. He's most likely Scarf, and since he's not a boosting item, Clefable can take anything from this thing. Ironhead should not be 2K-ing me unless he's like Adamant or something, which, you know, he's already revealed a special move. So I don't think he is, you know, a plus attack boost in nature, and I should be able to set up a Calm Mind here for free. And he goes hard out into Mimikyu, and right here, I was calculating this damage, and he is just like, if I get a max roll, I kill him with Moonblast right over here because I am Life Orb. Now, if I don't, I'm putting him at around like 10% or something to where he dies to the next Life Orb hit. I don't get 2KO'd by anything that Mimikyu wants to do to me without a Swords Dance. So my play right here is to just click Moonblast. And if it doesn't kill, then I will sack off maybe one of these two Mons, as you know, it kills itself with the Life Orb damage, and then I can win with Clefable after that. So that was my reasoning for this right here, as he's going to set up the SD right here. That was his only play, and I'm going to go for the Moonblast, and I actually get the highest roll possible. I get the highest roll, at least to what I said it. When I calced it, it said I need the highest roll to kill it right there. Now I might have miscalculated because Mono, after the game, we were talking about it, and he said that he only had a small chance to live that. So I might have ended up miscalculating that, but I thought that it would have killed. I thought that it would have not killed right there. But right now he's gonna go into Lopunny. I don't know if this thing is Iron Tail. I have to scout for that right in a bit, and if he is, that could be a bit of an issue. But I think right here he goes for the Fake Out, and I'm just barely out of range from Iron Tail. So I decide right here to scouting for Iron Tail. I'm going to Soft Boil up, as that is exactly what I do. I'm going to Soft Boil up because I would have been at a decent amount of health if he Iron Tailed. If he did just return, I'm still going to get some health back, as I'm just going to keep on spamming Soft Boil for a little bit, hoping that he's not able to crit me. And I really only need one Calm Mind up to win this game, so I don't need to like set up to +6 or anything, because I Oko pretty much everything. I 2-Aki or Reuniclus at this point. I won't be able to beat me 1v1. Since I'm pretty sure that he isn't Calm Mind Reuniclus. This might have been a misplay in case like he was for some reason Calm Mind Reuniclus. I felt that it would have come out by now if he wasn't. Maybe I should have gotten a second Calm Mind up, but I'm just going to Moonblast right here when I feel like I got to the max amount of HP I wanted to, and I didn't want to risk a crit. So I'm going to kill that thing, and right here I'm going to Moonblast again. As he reveals that he's Ironhead, so I'm pretty sure this was Scarf. I'm not sure. I had to watch Mono's Teambuilder, and if it was that Ironhead, if it flinched me, that could have been kind of game over, because like it could have killed these Mons right over here. But we're gonna see that we actually live. So I'm kind of curious to see why he was Scarf Ironhead, because Ironhead is still, like, if he's not a boosting item, Ironhead is not really doing much to Clefable. So pretty interesting to see. I guess it does do more damage after Calm Mind's up, and maybe it was a filler move as well, so who knows. But I'm going to kill it right there, and if this is Trick Room Clefable, it will not be, or if this is Trick Room Reuniclus, it won't be able to win the game, because I do have a Calm Mind up, but to prevent him from winning, from critting me if I do Soft Bowl up right here, I actually think I go straight up for the Moonblast. Do I do that? No, actually I Soft Bowl up. Yeah, I Soft Bowled up because that puts me out of range of any Psychic if he does Trick Room right here, as he actually Psychics right there, and that reveals that he's not Trick Room. He's not like life orb or anything. He's just a defensive variant. So right here, I can just Moonblast this thing as he actually crits me with Psychic, which kind of sucks. But that Moonblast put him in range of a Dragon Claw from my Kyurem. So we're only gonna get a 2-0 win instead of a 3-0 win. Because of that crit, which, you know, it's not that big of a deal. In a way, it's kind of good because Kyurem got an extra kill, and Kyurem is my kill leader right now. I think that puts it at like 8-2 for this season. And yeah, we won against Mono, so we are now 3-2 with a +4 differential. I showed you the standings earlier, and this means that we are actually I'm just gonna say, before I keep on talking, I'm gonna be kinda spoiling a little bit of the rest of the matches. I'm just gonna be saying where I am in the conference, and you know, you might know that I'm above like certain people. That means that some people might have lost and stuff like that. So if you guys don't want spoilers, it's not really like huge spoilers. Like, you'll still enjoy the other games, but we are first in our conference after this week. We are 3-2 with a +4 differential, and we are looking really good right now. Next week we're going to be playing Aberforth and the Newcastle Umbreons. I believe that is his team name. And he's 3-2 as well. So we both have the same record, but he has a much worse differential. So sorry for the long ass video. This is going to be about 46 minutes long. My video just keep on getting longer. God damn. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and have a good day. Peace.